All right.
Okay, so obviously the big thing is $22,000. There's been a lot of questions about this, as far as where is it coming from? How is that divided? Basically, the big thing is Alex and I said there needs to be more money in Roundnet. We're willing to fork this out and to bring everyone from across the country, across the world, to come and play and compete for it, and make it really accessible. You don't have to be premier to get it, right? That's kind of how our rules work. As far as divvied out, so it goes 10K to the premier division, 6K for women, and 6K for challenger. And how that's divided out, it's between cash prizes and sponsorship. So let's say you won premier, and hello, Jesse. You first comes the sponsorship. So with a sponsorship, what that means is you are on the American Spikers League team. We are going to give you a jersey, an American Spikers jersey, along with whoever partner you choose to play with. And we're going to fly you round trip flight there and back, all expenses paid trip to an STS in America of your choice. So you're going to go on our dime. We're going to fly you out, and the expenses from that are minus from the prize pot. So all the excess, which it's calculate to, if it's the $10,000 pot, I think it's like $600-700 per player after the flights and after the hotels and stuff for that paid sponsorship STS event. And then obviously it goes down from 6,000. So you will win money and be well worth whatever you're trying to do in the STS in 2023.
Awesome. And just a reminder, everybody, that's just one part of the prizes. And we're going to talk about more of those prizes that you don't know about and some of the different things that we have in store for everybody else in the tournament, besides just those that take on the top money and the top sponsorship deals. And just a reminder, we've got Fredric Hinkle, 2021 national champion, pro player, on the call with us, and he will be doing a training and a question answer session for all of you. So we'll get through our stuff, and then we'll turn the time over to him and get ready to just get inside the head of a pro and a national champion. So that's coming. So just make sure you're ready for that. And we're also giving away a free hotel room stay in Vegas at the hotel right next to the playoff field. And so as long as you're on the call, we'll do that right after Fredric starts training. And then we'll give away one person. We'll have a chance to win one of those. Also, we are doing 1 or 2 more of these Zoom calls. So if you've got people in your community who did not get a chance to make it to this call, or you want to come in again to another call and try to get another hotel room, and just keep using this as a tool to energize your community. We're going to have next Wednesday, and it's 3 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock Eastern. It'll be Buddy Hammond doing the training on that one. And so you're welcome to come back, get more of your community out to that one. Again, free training, and we'll talk more about the playoffs and try to energize people and get them excited. And then on December 28th, we've got Gabe Finocchi, if I pronounced that correctly. And he's going to be doing that one. So cool stuff, free training, guys. And so you don't have to be coming to the playoffs to attend those trainings. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, we are going to have, our intention is to have over 100 squads. We have enough space in our field for 120 squads. And based off the registration of captains, we are over that. And I know some of you are still trying to recruit, and I know some of you are wanting to come that haven't signed up. We have space. We are open space. People are starting to secure their spots, but there are spots open that are not secure. So it's now a race. As long as you register as a captain and you get one other person registered, you are considered a secure spot. And then payment for your whole squad isn't due till the first week of January. But this is a big tournament, over 800 players expected to attend. And it's going to be a historic big event. I just toured the facility, the fields. It's awesome. First class fields with just lots of cool stuff. And we're excited from all over North America and some from Europe. And this is a big, big event. Okay, we're going to go ahead and play this little hype video that we've got. You've probably all seen it. This may or may not work with the video quality of the Zoom, but we're going to give it a shot anyways. It's only 40 seconds. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, then go watch it on Instagram. It's there right now. Okay, I'm going to actually play it on my thing here. right. That doesn't get you excited. I don't know what will.
Sweet. So you can see kind of where people are registering from. I don't know how many of the states of the 50 that we're missing, but we have enough places from Canada coming that kind of makes up for it. But really cool. There's kind of this idea when people start saying, "Oh, I'm going to bring a squad," they think about their immediate squad and they don't think about the next squad they're going to bring. Or if there's going to be another squad, they just kind of think, "Oh, we'll bring our top 7, and then that's it." That's not really the way this works, and we'll get more into why. But there's lots of incentive to bring more than one squad from your area. I think Idaho is bringing 13 squads, and then California's got like 5 or 6. Utah's got 4. So there's lots of reasons to bring. We'll get into that, but just know that even though it's not just one squad from each state, a lot of these states are bringing multiple squads, and it's a great experience for them to come and attend.
Well, and especially Canada. I mean, Canada, some of these on Ontario are bringing 4, 5, 6. New York's bringing them. So we know there's some travel. We know this. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but we understand that. But this is an event that's been designed for your program to come compete against other programs, and it's your chance to showcase who you are. So will your state be there, or will your state not be there, or even your community or program? And this is a tool. This is a tool to dig deep and get people hyped about Roundnet. We're trying to push this to the next level. And so we're trying to increase the sport through our efforts and your efforts and everyone's efforts to attend. So, all right. Okay, so we're going to go into this match format. Caleb's going to take us through. Okay, the question is, how does this work? We've had a lot of questions. We can't do one-on-one call with everybody, so that's why we created the Zoom call. Okay, it's unique. It's exciting. It's not like college sectionals at all. And so how does our format, the playoffs, work with 7 players on your squad? So I've got a little graphic. Caleb's going to take you through it. So here is the deep dive into our match format.
Okay. So kind of the big question is, everyone asks is, why is there 7 people on a squad? I'm going to zoom out that little. There you go. Zoom out a little bit more.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect. Why are there 7 on a squad? The whole idea behind this is to operate more as a squad, a team of multiple individuals than just partnering with one person the whole tournament. So how this works, you got the blue and we got the black. If Alex is the captain of the black and I'm the captain of the blue, we'll figure out who's going to match first or send out first. So let's say I send out first. So
and there's
I'm
3 nets on the field to start the game. There's 3 nets. That's the base foundation of the tournament, of the match.
3 nets on the field. I have a strategy. I'm going to put my 1 and my 7 together on a net. So that's all my players are ranked from 1 to 7 to start. I'm going to put my 5 and my 2. And then I'm going to put my 3 and my 4 on the net. Now my 6 is subbed. He's not going to play this round. There are 4 rounds total, and he'll sub in eventually. Okay, then Alex sees my lineup, and he has to match, but he has to follow a couple different rules. So if you see net 1 right there, 1 and 7, we have a thing called a pair score, and it's the added ranking of your players. So that would be 8 for that net. It'd be 7 for the next, and 7 for that net. So Alex can now match freely, so long as his pair score falls within 8 plus or minus 3. So he can put his, he couldn't put his 1 and his 2 together. He'd have to put his 1 and his 6.
From 5 to 11 on this one, yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead and put your pairs out there, Alex.
Okay, so I'm going to match Caleb. It's my turn. He places first. I get to match. So he's got a 7 as 1. I'm hoping my 7's a little better than his 7. So I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to go after it. And so then I've, of course, matched equally the pair score. But now comes this opportunity. So I can go down to a 4 on this one. So I'm actually going to put my 2 and my 3 here. It gives me a 5. Now I have to be between 10 and 4. I'm going to now go ahead and put my 6 and my 4 together. I feel good about this. This is an opportunity for me to really take advantage of this net a little bit. But then these guys have a disadvantage, but not by a huge amount. There's no sacrificial net here. My 1 and my 2 can't play my 6 and my 7 here. But here we go. So I have now matched Caleb.
Yep. Yep. So he's matched, and then we play. Each net won is worth 1 point. Okay. So let's say his 7 is significantly better than my 7 on net 1, and they won. That's 1 point for them. And then I would guess that on the net 2 we would lose and they would win just based off of ranking. And then on that yellow net he wins. So let's say he goes 2-1. That's round 1. Okay. So the score is 2-1 round 1. The next round, we're going to do the exact same thing, except now I have to sub my 6 that was sitting off, and Alex has to sub in his 5, or they have to go in and sub out one of his other players. And instead of me sending out first, Alex will send out first, and then I have to match. So what this creates is, and you can't play with the same person twice in a row. So the 1 and 7 can't play together again. They have to change it up. They have to play with someone else, creating that team unity. There's a lot of strategy here. So you can kind of play it where you just make each of your scores 8s across. Alex, if you want to.
Yeah. So I'm going to place first. Now it's my turn. So I'm going to go a cool strategy. I'm going to mix it up. I can't put my 1 and 7 together because we just went together. So I can do my 5 and my 3. Because I have to bring my sub in now. My sub was the 5. I'm going to go 5 and 3. I'm going to go 6 and 2. And then I'm going to put my 4. I can't do the whole thing, but my 4 and 7 looks awesome. No, I'm not going to sub my 1 out. That's not something I'm going to do. So I'm going to sub out my 7 now. So I'm going to go 1 and 4. So that leaves this. These are my matchups now. So I got a pair score of 8. I've got a pair score of 8, the best I could. And then I have a pair score of 5. Okay, yeah. Then Kaleb now has to match. Now it's his turn. He has to match that. He has to sub out his 6. No, so his 6 has to come in. Now he has to sub out somebody else.
Yeah, and that happens for 3 rounds. You'll play with a ton of different people. You'll play as a team. There'll be games that your number 1 loses because, maybe it was just a weird matchup, and there's games that your number 1 will win. But there's this kind of cool idea is you have 7 players in your team. 4 of them will sub. There's 3 nets, 4 rounds, which means that your top 3 players, basically your starters, are going to be playing the whole time. Now, Dallin James from Washington asked a question. He says, how are players numbered / ranked? Do squads / squad captains submit rankings themselves? Is there anything in place to prevent deliberately dishonest rankings? You want to answer that, Alex?
Yeah, I sure will. So one thing we'll get to in a second, so our next slide, is we are building software that runs this whole thing for you. Each captain will have their phone or an iPad, as long as it's connected to the internet. It will run all of this for you. It'll tell you who's eligible, who's ineligible, what pairs you could sub against or place against the other team. And it'll just keep track of everything for you. And it runs the whole entire tournament. Before each match, you will submit your lineup. We do have a rule that you can only move 1 player 1 spot from match to match. So if you're like, man, I would like to see if my 1 could be my 7. That might work for you in one match, but it's not going to work for the rest of the tournament. There's no really great advantage for that. Because it's going to create a mismatch on the other end. So you just keep the honor code, just the honor system, and just go and just rank them the best you can. Make it the best ranking you can, and let's have some good matchups. It's intended to keep competitive matches. It's one of the few sporting events that allow that. So let's enjoy it. All right, someone is writing on my screen. Sup, thank you so much. All right, I'll figure out how to disable that, but let's go on the next thing.
Yeah, so scroll over to your right.
Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, Kaleb, there, we just talked about that. So let's go in through this part here. All right, we're going to talk about the playoff structure. The playoff structure is, well, first of all, does anybody have a question? Type in the chat. Does anyone have a question specifically about the match play? Put it, okay, look at the chat, see if anybody has any questions about that.
Nope, we're good.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Here we go. Okay, let's go back to this screen here, and we're going to now show.
Josh asked 9 matches total. So for the whole event,
we'll talk about that in the structure. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay, go for it.
No, I see. We'll answer that question in just a second. That'll answer it. But each match is 4 rounds. So, and we played a hard cap to 15. So They're not as long of games you normally would have in a tournament, because we're going to go through a bunch of games, and let's talk about that right now. Okay. Okay, so the way to start the tournament, we're going to place you in a group of 3 squads. You are then going to play every squad in your group. And there's going to be some 2-0s, some 1-1, and some 0-2s. And then the point spread is also going to help us divide. Don't worry about ties. There's going to be a lot of same records, but don't worry about that, because we are then going to divide your division. Now, this is based off a 48 squad division. Challenger and Premier are based off that at capacity. And then the women's at 24 is kind of half this. But the way this works is once that first 3 games are done, matches are done, or the group stage, we're then going to divide the tournament into 4 what we call branches. So you just be divided into branches. Now, this is really cool. This is a unique style that should get you really, really, really excited. I can't tell you, I mean, you can raise a hand if you want, but how many of you have been to a tournament? You felt great. It was going to be awesome. And you were doing really good in pool play, and you get that first match in bracket play, and for some reason you forgot how to serve, or you found that front rim a lot, and for some reason you got beat, and now all of your excitement and energy and practice and training is now gone. We've all been there. It stinks. And then how many people leave early, just abandon the tournament, and just kind of screwed up for everybody else? This is designed opposite. We want to keep people engaged the whole time. So you'll be divided into 4 branches. In that branch will be 12 squads. Your job is, by the end of what we call branch play, is to be as high as possible. So you will play everybody. You'll be divided into a level. So in branch play, after those first 3 games, you'll be divided into a branch and assigned to a level based off how well you did. Let's say you get assigned to level 3. Great. You'll play everybody in your level. You'll play 2 games, the other 2 teams. And based off of the record or the results, that will determine what happens in the next set of games. So that's set 1. You'll play everybody in your level, in your branch. Then comes the next awesomeness. So if you were in level 3, as you see here, and I took first place, well, let's go to level 2. If I'm in level 2 and I took first place, then the next set of games, I get to play on level 1. I leveled up. If I was the middle team, the second place team in that set, I will stay there in that level for the next set of games. If I was third place in that level, in that set of games, I will move down a level. Okay. So every set of games, every 2 games, essentially, you'll play everybody in your level, and you're trying to level up, kind of king of the net a little bit. The middle team stays, the bottom one goes down, the top one goes up. That's set 1. Now, what happens to the first place and the last place? So we don't have this 2/3 staying in the top and the 2/3 staying at the bottom. The first team, the first place team in the branch on level 1 will actually switch branches. So there'll be a rotation. The winner of branch A in set 1 will go to branch B, and the winner of branch B will go to branch C, C and D, and then D will come to A. The whoever lost level 4 will then switch and play as the bottom squad in the other branch, and you'll kind of move that through. We will do, we're going to attempt to do 4 sets of branch play. Again, these are quick games to 15. We're going to move people through the tournament. The intention here is that we have no idea how to seed you guys. We're going to do the best we can, but we have no idea at the end of the day with some of these challenger squads and some of these premier squads. That's why in premier, for example, let's say, you get put into a tough pool play, the very first in the seeding rounds, and you get put on level 4 for some reason. Well, you have to have a chance to get out of there. You have to have a chance to level up 4 times. So if you bomb your first 2 games in pool play and get put on level 4, you have a shot to get all the way up to level 1 for the final set and then try to win it. If you win level 1 on the 4th set, you're the winner of level 1 on set 4. Congratulations, all first place winners of every branch get to come over and play a semifinal and then have a chance to play for the finals and win the championship money in Division 1. Okay. Now, if you're not, You didn't make, there's only 4 of 48 that are going to be playing for that Division I championship. If you're the second place team, okay, you're the second place team in the branches, you will play for a Division II championship. You come put together into a semi and then a final. And then the losers of the semis will play in a third, fourth game. This is awesome. We have big, awesome things for those division champions from level 2, Division II, all the way down to Division 12. We've got t-shirts that say Division Championship. We're trying to get scholarships. We're trying to get cool things for you guys. And so just like, so this is why it doesn't matter where your skill set's at or how you perform. This is going to be a big tournament, lots of cool things. You're playing for the Division I championship, but if you don't, you're not leaving early. You still got stuff to play for. You're looking for a division championship, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. Kaleb, anything I left out on that? And any questions, feel free to put it in the chat.
No, just touching on this point where we're really trying, and this is another motivation to try to bring multiple squads. So from my area, we're bringing 2. We got our A squad, who I think has a good chance to win Challenger, and we have our B squad, which, you know, they could win a Division 5 or 6 title, and that's awesome for them. Whereas before, it's like you get knocked out in bracket play, and now you're in consolation, and no one else wants to play consolation, and so then you travel to Vegas for nothing. So we're trying to really milk kind of the reasons for people to come and dig deep in their programs. And then just a final thing on squads and this format. Kind of the trend that we're seeing is that, and we've talked to hundreds of people across the country and the world about kind of the growth of Roundnet in the sport. And kind of what we're seeing is that once a player gets Premier, and they kind of realize that, you know, breaking into that top 16 is really tough, they kind of quit or they retire, right? And we don't want that to happen. We don't want to lose, you know, our like a mid-level Premier players or anybody. And so what this does is it gives a format for where, you know, you don't have to just have a partner. You are performing as a squad, as a region, as a community. So there's reasons not just to be the 1 and 2 in your area and to go try to win a tournament. You have motivation to build deep in your area for the long term. So even if you quit, you retire, and then, you know, someone comes to you and says, "Hey, we're going to playoffs. We need a strong 6th player or a strong 7th player." All of a sudden, I have a lot more motivation to stay engaged and involved in the community than plateauing and then quitting, which is what we see. You plateau, you quit. And we don't want that. And that's not how it is in other sports. It's not how it is. I could go on and on and on about this, but
yep.
This format is designed to build longevity and to bring communities together and to dig deep to get other players, to bring those people who aren't Premier, to build them up, to play with your Premier players so they get Premier, and then to keep that growth.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome. All right, guys, we're about done with our stuff. And then we'll get to pro player, 2021 champion, Fredric Hinkle in just a minute. And we're also going to give away the free hotel room. So stay with us and let's move on to the rest of this. And then we'll get right to that stuff, the bonus material. So anyways, so what Kaleb said, why make the effort for this tournament? I mean, this is a historic, unique event. Like Kaleb said, it's a chance to grow your program. I think we're taking 4, 5, 6 squads out of our 100-mile radius. We've been running leagues, we're running stuff. People are excited, and so they don't want to miss out. They know how much fun this is. I wish you guys all knew how much fun this is going to be. And so you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I would never miss this in the world." I wish you knew, but you're about to. And so it's our big show and tell. All teams will have a chance to win the division championship. We talked about this with Division 12. There's 12 division champions. And then to kind of finish it off, we're getting excited for the 24 playoffs, the next year's, and we're intending to make it bigger. We're intending to have a 7-player Premier division. We couldn't do that this year, but next year we will. And we're hoping to have big money. You know, we've been throwing around like $20,000 to $30,000 to $40,000 prize pots for some of these divisions. And how do you get into those 2024 playoffs? Well, we're going to have some qualifiers, some events across the country. We're looking to partner with some great tournament directors. But those that come to the 2023 playoffs will automatically get into the 2024 playoffs. That's it. You don't have to worry about qualifiers or anything like that. You will be in. So we're excited to grow this and build it. And by you supporting it this year and being in, you've developed a kind of a path to the future one that gets even better and bigger. So more about that later after these playoffs, but just to get excited about that.
Fundraising. Great. This is our final slide before we get to Fredric. So the cost. So first off, obviously the big expense is flights, and we chose this weekend because it's actually a lot cheaper. We're finding flights. We have some people from Canada. They got theirs for like $150.
We found some for under 100, like $80 some programs. So,
and obviously that changes. But long story short, if you fly in on Thursday night and you fly out Saturday evening, it's going to be, if you're going to fly to any SES event throughout the year, this is probably going to be the cheapest flight you find unless there's some sort of crazy thing. So that's one. Two, it's, as far as fundraising goes, obviously if you're in a college, there's some funding if you're part of a club, those kinds of things. But on top of that, this is a really cool kind of unique opportunity. So just how players fundraise to go to Worlds, right? How many of us are going to go to Worlds? I don't know. Yeah, maybe some of us will, who are in the Zoom call someday. Fredric already has them. But this is kind of the Worlds for our communities. So you can say, or make a GoFundMe and send it to, it's kind of an easy thing to do. Send it to, people you respect, people who care about you, and say, hey, this is kind of wording we've used, but basically, I've been selected to represent my community at the playoffs in Vegas. And you can continue reading this, but it's a huge honor, and anything will help get me there. And I think you'll find, and we've found with our doing this for youth nationals, it was very successful. I think each player raised around 100 to over that. And it can make your event more affordable, and then you can send pics to the people you want and show your story. And it's been very effective. Other things, of course, is corporate sponsors for jerseys. There's been some success with that, and obviously doing like a fundraiser tournament or selling whatever it is. There's 1,000 ideas of how to fundraise. It's really just about if you guys want to be at this awesome, cool event, and you guys can find a way.
Yep. A couple questions too is Neil asked, are there going to be some cool things, skills challenges, wide cut fastest things? There's going to be some fun things planned for Thursday night. There's a number of things that are going to be happening, and you'll get a list of all of them. So Thursday night, think about 800 plus people all gathered around that community. There's going to be some cool stuff, and there'll be some pickups and some cool activities, some cool games that we've got planned. And there's other things, some hangout sessions and things like that. So you just expect a big party and a big tournament. And just also kind of fun things is that we intend to do some cool stuff you guys don't even know about. We're trying to break the boundaries of tournament. And one of those things is we're attempting to have observers at every match from round 1 to the very final round. Yeah, observers. So we've got some cool opportunities for you to be paid as observers. We'll send out those things in a little bit as well. Every time someone plays, 2/3 of the tournament plays and 1/3 has a bye. And during that bye, there's opportunities for you to observe or just go hang out and socialize or plan or game plan your next game. So, okay, here we go. Next thing. And then, yeah, is that, yeah, guys, by the way, there's still spots open. We mentioned this before. There's still spots open. So if you want to come, you want to send multiple squads from your area, if you've been thinking about coming, now is the time. Yes. If you've already registered, then you'll go to League Apps. You have a link we've already given you. If you haven't registered as a captain yet, then go to Fuego and register as a captain, and then we'll send you the information to get the rest of your squad registered. It's really easy to do, pretty simple. But there are some spots. As soon as you're captain and you sign up, you've now secured the spot. Yes. Question is, will we? Yeah, we will have this recorded, and you guys can have access to it to share with your players. So that we intend to do that. And we have next Wednesday at 5 Eastern, Buddy Hammond. And then on December 28th, we have Gabe Finoki. So that being said, Kaleb, or should we turn this over to Fredric Hinkle?
Yeah, let's do that. I've been entering the names into this little spin the wheel thing for the free room. So stick around for that. I'll let you guys know when we're done. I'll just kind of, Fredric, as soon as your presentation is over, I'll just kind of interject, and then we'll do the Q&A. That's all right.
Okay, so that in mind, we'll turn it over to Fredric. As soon as Fredric does a training, he's going to do a little training, and then he's going to open to question and answers for him, which I hope you guys come with some questions, because I have a few if you don't. Then we'll do the drawing as soon as he's done this little presentation, this training, and then we'll break for the drawing, and then we'll stay, and wants to stay over for questions and answers. We'll do that. But without further ado, we'd like to welcome to the call 2021 national champion pro player in the championship this year. Awesome match. Let's turn it to Fredric Hinkle.
Howdy. Essentially, what I'm going to cover today is just a few ideas and a few thoughts that we have when putting together a defense. So there's one thing to play with a friend or play with a random partner for one weekend trying to make a result happen. And then there's another thing to put together like a legitimate defense that you're intending to really have success with a legitimate partner. And we're going to talk a little bit about the latter today and a little bit of the thoughts on putting together double clutches defense. And then after that, we'll briefly discuss a point or two from other defenses and why these are successful and why I think those are good too. Firstly, when I think about defense, I want to talk about contingencies, right? So when I'm thinking about defenses, I'm thinking of two main branches of any defense. And those two branches is server right and server left. So if I'm serving and I'm on the right side, I have my partner to a left. Notably, I'm going to be calling an even score on score call. That's going to be one structure for us to arrange a defense from. And then if I'm score calling on the odds, so I'll be on the left, my partner's on the right, tracker right, then I'm going to be thinking about putting together a defense in that regard. So if you were thinking about one singular defense, whether that's like a split and read like Funaki Modell ran, where you just run that every single time, you really want to have that understood in both parties that we're running the same thing every time instead of mixing it up and understanding there's something different happening every time that I serve from the right or you serve from the right. And this gets even more complex when you consider that, some people have different strengths than other people. If Rahul is serving on the right and I'm serving on the left, we're going to make slightly different decisions than if I'm serving on the right and Rahul's serving on the left. That, of course, being because he's got a better body and I'm going to do better running the ball down. So a few of these thoughts are going to go a long way, just having these discussions on, hey, I'm going to hit this serve from this spot, and then I'm going to intend to go here, and I'm going to cover this, this, and this, and you'll cover this, that, and that. So just that discussion is going to do worlds for you. All right. Can I screen share Alex? I'm going to show a video or two. I'm going to talk a little bit about the motivations for double clutch defense.
Okay, Fredric, you are now the host.
Cool. This should be what we're looking for. Alrighty. So the main premise of the DC defense was that if I am operating my defense and I am the server or Rahul is the server on the right-hand side, I mean, the trackers on the left, we should get a touch just about every time. We really shouldn't be missing touches. The way that we like to do it, I ran a follow. You'll see assistive touch run the tracker loop where Rahul would be the one running around Gabe here as I serve. But we ran a follow. The reason we like to follow is because Rahul had a better body and I like to run it down. And our perception is that hitters over pull in Premier. You see too many pulls in Premier. So to send a man long and for him to have visibility the entire time gives you a lot of benefit and a lot of value because I have perfect visibility on Gabe's hitting. So when he is over pulling, hitting too many pulls, that's going to be really easy for me to exploit and run down. Of course, I have Rahul following. If Gabe were to choose to drop or hit a push, Rahul is following me and essentially just keeping the gap between us angularly closed. Then, of course, I want to make a touch as close to the net as possible and have a setter that's perfect like Rahul so we can run back and kill points. So once we think about what is the first thing on our mind? The first thing on the mind for running the defense is teams over pull. Okay, now with the thought that teams over pull, we want to generate a defense that punishes that. We've done that so far. Now, what is the next option that they're going to have? That's going to be pushes. So the first thought for pushes is people that are not over pulling, people with balanced hitting decisions, people like Clark. We want to make sure that we cover not just pushes, but very good pushes. So you'll see Rahul and I work together. Watch Rahul come around. He comes around so quickly and he covers all of the really good pushes and kind of makes Clark hit the open. When you were playing this follow spot, a lot of this is really actually just convincing the person to hit to the long man. One of the main, I would say, principles, axioms of defense is whoever is further from the net, you want them to make the touch. Whoever's out the net is really just convincing the hitter to not hit it to them, but to hit it at the person that is further away. Anthony Alvino was the original master of this. He said his goal every time he came to the net was to convince hitters to hit the ball to the best defender in the world, which at that point is Ryan Fitzgerald. And we get, exactly what we're hoping for. The ripper push, kind of open shot directly to me. Okay. So at this point, we've kind of covered the two main shots that we're going to see when I am serving and somebody hits the ball at me. So the question then becomes, what happens when somebody hits the ball at Rahul? When somebody says, oh, okay, Rahul is the leader, Fred is the follower. So when I follow, of course, things look a little different. Rahul isn't taking that long run out, right? He's still gone around. I'm still following. But Rahul has come back in. Now, if Will Picone were to choose to square up and hit at Rahul would also be close. But regardless of whoever was going to be the follower, that person's going to have the backhands, the left hands. And this was really the way that we ran defenses. I would say 70%, maybe 80% of our defensive touches came with the server starting on the right side, like in this point where I'm serving from the right side. My tracker is on the left and the server is on the right. Almost all of our touches came from this spot just because it was so much easier to generate situations where those touches are readily available. Just like in the next one where we were able to get the nice body from me. Next one I'll talk about is flipping sides. So this one here, you see Rahul is serving from the left side. This defense is again, when you start thinking about contingencies, somebody needs to cover wrap, somebody needs to cover push, somebody needs to cover backhand. And hopefully we do our best to cover as much trajectory as possible. That's not always the case, but we do our best in that regard. So in a defense like this, you'll see me go right, and I'm going to go around Addison, and Rahul is again following. And Rahul is essentially going to do his best to convince Addison not to take any pulls or any wraps, any of these big righty shots. He's a good body defender, so he does a good job of that. And whenever Addison is going to hit backhand wrap, I'm going to be there for it. The idea of this defense is, again, backhand wrap, backhand pull, backhand open is all overutilized by premier level hitters. Premier hitters are choosing this shot more than they should be, and we're going to punish that. When we don't get an opportunity to punish that, we're going to be okay with it. It's okay for us not to punish, but there will be so many of these shots where Addison chooses literally this, that to just all in for that and play for it is really viable. When we start thinking about this at kind of an advanced or contender level, you may be more hesitant to take that on. You could be fine to come back to this position and not even send me around, but to send me here and then have me stop and wait and see what that wrap is going to look like, or that high trajectory pull or open from Addison will look like before sending me around, as opposed to this version where you send me around and I go get the touch and we clean up. Once again, the premise of these defenses is that the goal was to take advantage of the easiest to get shot. The easiest to get shots from our perception was backhand wrap, because it's the least powerful and we're going to see the least trajectory variation, and then strong hand wrap. Strong hand wrap, of course, just because we have so much visibility and it's usually pretty clear exactly how far they'll be able to wrap it. I mean, I can show this point as well. This is Rahul serving from the right, me following. Watch Rahul come back in. He plays it the opposite of me, where he comes back in and plays body. If I were playing his spot, I would be gone. But of course, he comes back close and he finds a nice little hand and we kill this ball. So, I mean, there's a lot of flexibility here for what you and your partner are seeing and the strengths of the players that you have. In closing of this, I will say there's a lot of things that can happen, and having fluidity in a defense is always going to be important. Dan and Grant are going to run this exactly the same way that you saw me go get the touch on Addison in that previous point. Watch Dan go around. Dan goes around to get the backhand wrap, and Grant, in the moment, notices, okay, something's not right. Gabe isn't going to have an opportunity to hit strong righty pull back this way. He's hitting something weird, and Grant takes off, and I think this is the best touch of the year. Unfortunately, the hit is kind of a bit silly, but the decision-making process is actually really interesting where Dan goes around and things look like, okay, Gabe is normally going to set up right here and hit a bomb or a wrap or some sort of push, and Grant can recognize, okay, that's not the case. And I think these are the spots that are really exciting and fun as defenders, where you've put together a defensive scheme. You have a structure in mind. We're going to cover push. We're going to cover pull. We know exactly how we're going to do that. Okay, Gabe has taken a step that we don't expect. We have to break from the scheme that we've put together. And Grant does that perfectly here. I mean, I think that's a wonderful touch. 15 feet off net on the backhand wrap from Gabe, with suddenly Dan covering backhand push, not what he expected when he goes around there. Silly hit, but yeah. Anyways, that's what I've got. I hope you've seen what some of our motivations were when running the defense that we ran. A lot of these ideas are not
I don't think so. Maybe.
A lot of the ideas are
after
not
the
really
next
that
set.
complicated. It's just a lot of let's take advantage of things.
Yeah, that's Fredric, that's awesome. Thank you very, very much. That was awesome. It's fun to see those video clips, the way you did it, and what's going through. It's always fun to see what's going in through your mind as you have those situations and what the plan is going into. I like you said fluidity, and for sure that's what makes Spikeball so great, is that you have that ability to be fluid. Let's go ahead and we want to get to questions and answers for you, Fredric, and I hope you guys are. Get ready for some questions. Put them in the chat. We'll take what we can. But before we go on to that, Kaleb, let's give away a free night stay at the Hawthorne Suites in Henderson, Nevada.
You want to grant me? I can share the wheel if you want to grant me access.
Oh yeah, you've got on the computer. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go find you, Kaleb, and let's make you host. Let's do it.
Sweet. All right, here we go. I put all your guys' names in there. I'm going to go ahead and spin. Here we go. And the winner of the free hotel room is
Me.
I knew this was going to happen.
Oh, I was afraid of that too. Okay, who are you?
That's my alter ego.
It's closest to my name.
Hold on. Where is it at? Where's that at? Someone find that question mark person. Who is that?
See it. Speak up. You have a question mark in your name. Who are you? And if they're not here, we're gonna re-roll.
I don't know if I'm on there or not.
What?
Is it the emoji?
Oh, it's me. It's Kaleb. Who is? I don't even see the question mark. Is that? Oh, that's the picture of the like a map. Oh yeah, you.
Yeah, the otter.
Okay, message us your name and your phone number in the direct message us. Congratulations.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thank you. Are you already registered for the playoffs?
Yeah, we registered already.
What program are you from?
We're from Mississauga Roundnet, MRC. Canada.
Oh, sick.
Let's
I appreciate it. Crazy. Let's go.
Is that the Ontario one, Kaleb?
Yeah. Hey, just message us in the chat. Me and Alex personally, just give us your name and we'll get you hooked up.
Now,
yeah.
Real quick. So if you now that's one. We're gonna give away another hotel on Wednesday at the Buddy Hammond one, and we're gonna give another one on December 28th at the Gabe one. So just keep coming to these. We're gonna keep giving away hotels and keep having more trainings and just cool stuff. We're gonna grow this Roundnet community and get ready for this playoffs. Kaleb.
Sweet. Yeah. Hey, let's do a Q&A with Fredric. So
let's do it.
I think probably the best way to do this is because it obviously be kind of cool. A lot of people have questions they don't want to type out. So if you have your hand raised, does everyone know how to raise their hand on Zoom? If you do that, we'll just, this guy does, Neil does.
Yeah.
If you do that, we will go ahead and I'll call you out for the question, and then just go ahead when I say unmute, and then ask your question to Fredric, and then mute yourself, and then Fredric will answer.
Okay, let's do Neil first. Let's go.
Hey, thank you. I'll for doing this. Appreciate it. Fredric, question would be, there's generically this 10,000 hour rule, or I'm sorry, philosophy about like mastering a technique. Considering there's so many different parts to Roundnet in particular, and you just right there highlighted by doing like defensive schema. How do you kind of like apply that to specifically like serve receive? Because that's not something that you can necessarily just kind of, you can think about it a little bit, you can watch tape, but I'm more curious about like how to improve serve receive and like sort of the limitations. I have like thoughts on it, from like your athletic ability needs to be such a level that you have to have such dexterity to be able to move laterally left and right, within a certain amount. Is there certain drills that you have for that? So basically just how to get better at serve receive, what's some of the techniques philosophy.
Great
Thanks.
question, Neil. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So I think when you're asking two questions. You're asking question one, which is, what are my thoughts on improving as a serve receiver and the important parts to that? And then you're asking my thoughts on how do I get better as a serve receiver. So I'm gonna break those up. So I think
Sure.
for the first question, there's two pieces to this. One, you have to think about it. You have to understand it. You have to have like a full knowledge base. Just doing it isn't going to cut it. But at the same time, just thinking about it isn't enough either. I can point to, I love him to death, Nate Wilson from Michigan. Plays tons and tons of pickup with Thomas and Dawson and Marino. Really struggles on receive. Really struggles on receive. Great athlete. Ran cross country college for years. Struggles on receive. And he gets the best practice you can imagine. You think about that. Thomas, Marino, Dawson. So it isn't just that you need the reps. Yes, of course, the reps, but you also need to think about it. You need the strategy. Now, if you have just the strategy and no reps, you'll, again, be lacking. So what do I say for what is the strategy? What is these ideas? One, the athletic ability. That's all footwork. I mean, I look at my footwork from 4 years ago, and I'm just like, that is a different person. I do not look similar on serve receive. And I would just say, watch Tyler. Watch the old Tyler Chiswick videos. Everything that I have come up with, everything that I have put forward has been at the beginning plagiarized, and then after being plagiarized has just been added on to. Tyler Chiswick wrote the book on how to receive, what receive footwork should look like. I raised it up a little bit. I stand a little taller than Tyler does. I'm not as strong as he is. He can do a little bit more than I can in that regard. But I would say watch Tyler, watch me. If you're interested, watch Josh Weinbach and Hayden Flood. I think the four of us are really the people you want to see. I think some of the taller players get away with a lot more because they have more reach. But I think Hayden and I are kind of at that point where we're tall enough, everything's clean, but have to fully work. And I think a lot of the understanding part is just making sure that hips are not turning in the wrong way and making sure that we have a foot on the ground when the ball is hitting the net. We really do want both feet touching the ground when the ball hits the net. Yeah, hope that answers some questions. I'm sure we could go deeper.
Thanks.
Okay, does anybody else have a question? Raise your hand with the Zoom hand raiser. Oh, there you go.
It's
Prince.
under reactions.
Prince, go ahead.
Hello guys, what's up?
Howdy.
I'm from Philippines.
It's awesome. Welcome.
Yeah.
It's like 10 a.m. there.
The thing that I'm going to ask you guys is about because in our community, I am the one who is in charge of making pitches on the field. And I would like to ask you guys what equipment do you use usually to make lines to the pitch, because it is very important to play Roundnet here with precise and accurate measurements of the pitches.
All right,
I mean, we use a tape measure.
Yeah.
Somebody in the Roundnet chat or in the chat just added the revised Roundnet lines. We use the revised Roundnet lines as well.
We love them.
We've purchased turf and then cut that out. I think for doing training and practice and pickup, I think turf is really good because you know when you have infracted as a hitter. But I would say spray paint and a tape measure probably gets the job done for you.
Yeah. We were making DIY equipments here, like the one that is the same with the revised Roundnet, but I don't know what's the. Do you know what's the inner diameter of that hole that where you put the paint?
Should be the diameter should be 72 inches of the inner no hit zone. And
72
then
inches or 72? I think inches is very big.
yeah, but the diameter of the internal the no hit zone circle, it's 18 plus 18 plus 36 for the net, so that should be 72 inches. If I recall, I could be wrong.
I think you might be asking about the pole inside the stake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, Alex. That one.
Yeah. So that's a great question. I do know that Gavin from Revised Roundnet knows more about this than I do, and I would love to have him reach out to you, and he can help you out with that. So I'll find out more about that, Prince, on painting and field space and the diameter of those, and we'll get back. Let's follow up tomorrow. Yeah, Caleb and I will do some research for you and get more information back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, great question. We deal with that all the time. We make our DIY chains and rope, and we've gone through a lot of stuff ourselves. But well, thank you, Prince, and thanks for getting on the call.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Grayson, let's have your question.
Yeah, absolutely. This one's just mainly for Fred. Just want to say great presentation on just like defense, really interesting stuff going on there. And it seemed like just a big, huge part of that body defense is like balance when moving around the net, getting your feet up, your feet down. And, it's just a lot of quick movements happening right there. So I was just, wondering like what kind of, for balance sake, like what do you think is the optimal bone density for that? And how do you increase or decrease that bone density based on, what you're going for?
Well, I mean, it's I'm not an expert on bone density science. Oh my God. At the same time, though, I would say we do want the ball to come off not super hard and crazy. So if I could control the rate at which the ball is coming off of my body and make that a little bit slower, that would probably be better. So we probably want like a lower bone density. So I guess in order to lower your bone density, go sit on the couch, have some Cheetos, have a beer, relax, let that bone density get nice and low, and the ball will come off you slower. I mean, I have no idea how to answer that.
Yeah, thank you for trying though, Fred.
Fredric, I actually have a question. Wait for other hands to raise. So I'm watching. I watch you guys, and I watch double clutch. Assisted touch do defense, and I think you guys do it pretty differently. What have you noticed? Because what I feel like is they're kind of just close, like they play close, whereas Raul, he'll completely open up, and you'll just be 40 feet off the net predicting. What do you think the pros and cons are? Is one better or worse? Answer the 6 questions.
Yeah. There's a few things happening here. I would say the crux of this is actually much before even the question that you're asking. You're talking about like the defensive positioning of the two defenders in a scenario that is not the same. When I come to hit at the net against assistive touch, and when Clark comes to hit at the net or Buddy comes to hit at the net and I'm gone, what is led up to that is very different. Oftentimes they're hitting gentleman's serves, they're hitting weak serves. We have full control of the ball. We're more than in system. We're in system and we're together at the net. So I have a lot of options. They don't get this luxury of just leaving the net and making these long drawn out decisions where, okay, the set is a foot off the net. His decision-making choices are going to be pretty tight. He can only hit it somewhere. I can really leave the net and go get that because he's got 2 options. when I serve and Clark comes to the net, man, they're usually on the scramble. They usually don't get to just control the ball. And oftentimes when they do control the ball, I fall back onto my previous statements that people tend to overpull. People tend to overpull, and I'm going to exploit that by going deep into the pull. I'll go get the pull, and we're kind of chilling. If he chooses not to hit the pull, I'm praying for magic from Rahul, and that's okay. Sometimes we'll get the magic, sometimes we won't. We just expect that. I hope that answers that question. Once again, I think there are some elements of Buddy plays body defense in a different way than anyone else. He's got a lot more experience than everyone else. So I think that helps him. But at the same time, once again, I think that the situations leading up to that are fundamentally different, and that causes the defenses that we run to be more or less valuable.
Sweet. Thanks for answering that. Real quick, our buddy question mark man, he's got a little brother. His name is Colin Tolentino. If you could see that in the comments, he wants you to shout him out. Colin Tolentino.
Yeah, I can shout out Colin Tolentino. Look forward to seeing him at some big events. Would be sick to see him on a podium. So Colin Tolentino, let's see you on like a Challenger Advanced podium. That'd be sick.
Sweet. Awesome. Okay, so let's do Rendell's iPhone. Your hand's raised, and we'll go to Jake after that.
Oh, this is going to be a tough question if Rendell's got it.
I don't know if it's that tough, but I was just wondering, so I serve right now. I mean, I go through stages of serving, like stepping out or going like on the one-legged, I guess. I don't know what you call that, but pushing off on one leg. So when I serve, I often don't, like my hand is often pretty close to the ball, and I don't leave, I don't know how to describe it, but like my hand doesn't like come in and hit the ball, and more just like stays close, and it's a lot of like elbow movement. Do you recommend getting, like, do you get more power if you like either toss it in front of you a little more and like kind of like swing more at it and like have longer time, before you hit the ball? Or is there, I don't know if that is a question that you can answer, if that's distinct enough.
I see where you're going. I'm gonna leverage kind of like on baseball. If you think about a shortstop or a second baseman, oftentimes you'll see like he catches it and he just kind of flicks it over, right? As opposed to if you watch an outfielder come up and try and throw someone out at home, they'll take the running start, they'll throw with all of their body. They'll see this wide load in their arm where he pulls it all the way back, and then he dives into the throw, right? Really getting his whole body into it. But one of these is throwing the ball 60 feet and the other's throwing it 300. So of course the mechanics are going to look different. When you keep your hand closer to the ball, you have less time to accelerate your hand, right? So the wider that I bring my arm back, the more time I'm going to have to accelerate my hand as I pull it across. So I would say it's not necessarily like the further away from the ball that your hand is, but the further that you load your hand, the more time you will have to accelerate your hand into the ball. Just for power generation, just like matter of like physics, more time, more load, more time to exert force means more speed at the end. Unless you're just incredibly powerful and you can continue generating force with no lead up into it.
Good deal. That answers it.
Let's go to Jake Martha now. Jake.
Hi, Frederic. I just have a quick question. So you guys, or you in particular, are able to get pretty consistent results and getting in at the very least top 3 at most tournaments that you go to. How do you manage to keep that consistency where having 1 inch off on a set could be the difference between a perfect set and the ball completely missing, or staying on top of it? Is it just lots of practice, or is there something mentally that you think about that helps you get those consistent results?
I will say a lot of Premier Roundnet, and this starts to go away in Pro at this point, is less of doing amazing things and more of doing normal things every time. So most of the plays we make are routine. Some of them are hard, right? Like some of the recovery sets we have to make are very nice, but a lot of our play is really just not making mistakes, and when our opponent, or excuse me, when our partner does something that isn't perfect for us, the ability to kind of just cover it up and make it a part of our own game. If you watch Rahul and I hit, we are completely comfortable hitting hard driven shots, choosing push or pull 2, 3, 4, even sometimes 5 feet off the net. So I would just say we have an opportunity to generate really strong results just because the margin of error that we're playing with on all of our touches is so much larger than yours. If I make it kind of a sketchy first touch, Rahul's going to bail me out with the set. And if he doesn't, I'm going to bail him out with the hit. So we really have a lot more margin for error every time we touch the ball than you and your partner likely do. And that leads to a lot of really strong results, especially even when we consider marginal premier, marginal pro players who really don't have that level of control and that level of touch over the game. And that's going to come from drills, practicing a lot of skill specific, side out specific drills. For us, it was soft toss. And that's what I would say to that.
Thank you.
Great. Is Chaz still here? I think Chaz had a question. Chaz is not here. I had one other question, Fredric. I have lots of questions, but just so you're talking about practice, right? And what I've noticed is there's a lot of players who just want to do pickup, and they're like, 5 minutes of warm-ups and I'm done. So I guess kind of what is your, like, how often do you practice a week? How often do you do drills? And as far as like a community goes, are you just doing that with someone else, or do you have your group of guys? How do you go about actually doing drills?
I'm going to answer this question in the frame of reference of where I was in like 2019, 2020, when I was actually getting better and making significant improvements to my game. Practice for us began every single time, every practice, with what we called the Atlas drill: 2 people at the net, 1 person off the net. The 2 people go pass, set, hit, and they hit the ball to the person, intentionally to the person off the net, and then he passes it back to them, and the 2 at the net go pass, set, hit. And we started every practice with that, 5-10 minutes of that. And then you couldn't play games until you had done your Atlas drills. Past the Atlas drill, we would do soft toss hitting, soft toss setting, serving and serve receive, where one server is going to hit 50 serves at you. Let's see what your serve receive percentage is. These were normal things, all done indoor in a racquetball court, measuring to see how far can you pull this set, how far can you push this set, how far off can you make this set from, how consistently can you make this set from 20 feet. That was really like the practice regimen that I actually got good using. And I think, like, if we want to sit here and think about, let's just play pickup, I mean, how many at-bats do I have in my entire life playing baseball? Probably 1,000. How many swings hitting a ball off a tee or a ball of soft toss? Probably 1,000,000. I mean, there's a reason we go to the driving range in golf. It's because you do need more reps. It's not sufficient to just play pickup.
Thank you. Sweet. Okay. Tyler, and then after that, T-Man. Let's have this be the last questions here from Tyler and T.
All right, so Fred, my question is, it sounded like earlier you were talking about how Gabe and Max, their defense was like they split and react. And then it sounds like when you walk through even your serve receive and defense, you almost look at it from a poker standpoint, which is like you have a range of ideas you want to cover. Like you want to cover like the most predictable play, and you don't really mind if you like don't get the touch on this play. So kind of how do you think that's different from other people that are like, if they don't get a touch, they're really bummed because like the hitter outsmarted them, but you just kind of pride yourself on taking away the majority of shots. Like, how is that different between different teams?
Yeah, I think like from our perspective, to just put hitters on hitting ranges and understanding the shot choices that they like and exploiting shots that they overutilize, you can really find just a lot of free touches. Oftentimes hitters are overutilizing shots that are very easy to defend. Identifying the shots that they are choosing at a rate that is too high, that are easiest to defend, are going to be a lot of the easiest touches. When I think of this, the first shot that's going to come to mind is the Addison backhand, the Gabe backhand push, and then the Clark or Buddy wrap, where they really use these shots a ton. You can choose me as another example here. The bomb from me, really heavily overused shots. Some of these are really easy to defend. Some of them are a little harder to defend. So it's really about looking at your opponent's kind of hitting range and then exploiting what they overuse. Going back to like the mental side of this, I mean, if I cover the shots that I intended to cover, running the defense that I intended to run, and he doesn't do that, I can't be upset. Like I ran a defense with a goal in mind and I executed on my goal. If I'm sitting here saying I didn't get the touch, you can't sit there and make a defense where it's like I get every touch. No, well, that's not a goal. Like the goal of my defense is to take away this shot, this shot, this shot, this shot, and this shot. If I did that and he hit it past us, I mean, good for him. Like, let me rip another serve at him and let's see if he does it again. This time I'll give him one of the other ones and we'll cover the shot he just chose. And that's really the mindset here. This is not a 1 point game. We're playing 3 games, 21. They need to keep getting points off of us.
T-Man, go for it.
So I'm having a trouble with my setting accuracy. What drills do you suggest that I can do to improve my accuracy?
I will say setting accuracy is going to come from form. I personally set perpendicular to the net. So if I'm setting, I would have the net over there and I'm going to have a setting stroke. So for me, it's all about having the perfect consistent contact being right about here. This spot on my hand, we call it the power pocket of the hand, this palm area, top of the palm here. And I hit that spot every single time. I used to practice in my dorm where I would just kind of take a knee, have a wall to my left or to my right, and then just practice making a circle with my hand. The ball bounces off my hand, hits the wall, comes back. And I could sit there and do this with my eyes closed, where the ball would bounce off the wall, come back, and I could hit it again in the same spot. And once you get to that point where it's like, not only can I do it and hit the ball, but I can hit the ball in the exact same spot on my hand with my eyes closed because I'm that consistent. You kind of know where you're at. And I think a lot of this is just making sure you really do hit the exact right spot every time and you have a clean stroke. I think it's very hard to set like this. So like if I put the net over there where you guys are, proportionate to me, and I set, to you, that's going to be really hard. But when I turn my body and I can generate a stroke, things get a lot easier. If you watch my games, you'll see that stroke everywhere. If I'm 2 feet off the net, it's going to be a small stroke. You might not notice it because it'll look like that. And if I'm 20 feet off the net, you'll see me making this big loop and then kind of swinging through the ball. So I would say, think about making a real stroke and not just like, stabbing at the ball. Have a fluid stroke for it. Hope that helps.
It's a great
Thank
question.
you.
It's a great answer. Those are all good questions. That was great, man. Well, I got to pick up in 10 minutes, so I got to go practice. Sorry, it's playoff practice. We've got our squads coming together for playoff practice tonight. We've got a church and we're going to go drill some rooms, and these are good ideas for some of our drills tonight. So thank you. Thanks everybody for staying on the call. Thanks for making time. Fredric Hinkle, thank you very, very much. And
My pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, just awesome. And we'll see you in Vegas, and we'll see all of you in Vegas, and go recruit, go get some more players. This is a good opportunity to grow the program. You won't come back from this playoff saying to yourself, it wasn't for me. So you'll come back and say, wow, this sport's going somewhere and I want to be a part of it. And so with that, we'll say thank you and good night. Kaleb, anything else from you?
Nope. Thanks, guys.
Hey, next call Wednesday, 5 Eastern. We'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.